On August 31st, 1987, CBS aired a TV special called Michael Jackson, The Magic Returns. After completely transforming MTV with his videos for Thriller, Jackson had gone several years without a new release. In that time, music videos had exploded, with all sorts of artists pushing the medium both technically and financially. But the king of pop hadn't been idle. For 2 years, he'd been holed up working on his follow-up, an album called Bad. That meant more than just making music. It meant following up the incredible videos that had propelled Thriller to its unprecedented sales. So how do you follow up an ambitious, critically acclaimed short film directed by a bona fide Hollywood director? You create an even more ambitious film, and you tap in one of the greatest minds in film history to direct it. To that end, Michael Jackson linked up with none other than Martin Scorsese to create the short film Bad. Like Thriller before it, Bad features a narrative short before breaking into a highly choreographed dance number. This dance was inspired by West Side Story and sees Jackson revisiting the gang violence issue that had been at the center of the Beat It video. It also features a young Wesley Snipes and some of the smoothest dancing of Jackson's career. The whole production was grander than anything pop music had seen before. It had a budget of $2 million and a 6-week production schedule. And from the moment the video aired on that CBS special, it was celebrated as one of the greatest videos of its day. It entered into rotation on MTV and asserted Jackson as the video maker of his era. And he was just getting started. He followed Bad up a year later with Moonwalker, a feature-length film with a number of music video vignettes, including the claymation Speed Demon, the experimental animated Leave Me Alone, and the Fred Astaire-inspired Smooth Criminal. Smooth Criminal's budget dwarfed even that of Bad, being produced for $8 million and taking 2 months to complete. As the 80s drew to a close, the biggest stars of the day were making music videos with scope and budgets that were beginning to rival Hollywood. Bad and Moonwalker might seem like they represent the apex of the ambition of music videos, but as the 90s were about to prove, things were actually just getting started. Welcome to Hit Record. In 1986, as MTV had fully taken hold of the American psyche, a group of producers and directors teamed up to form Propaganda Films, a production company with a specific focus on the music video. Producer Steve Golan told Index magazine about his inspiration to found Propaganda. Back then, I firmly believed that as MTV grew, music videos would have a huge impact on TV commercials and movies in the not-too-distant future. And that's exactly what happened. Music videos popularized a choppier, slicker, glossier look. Miami Vice was born out of that with its bright colors and its emphasis on fashion and music. When Propaganda founded, they had 4 directors on their roster. Dominic Sena, who had worked with acts like Fleetwood Mac, Sting, and Bryan Adams. Greg Gold, who did videos for Michael Bolton, Chaka Khan, and Stevie Wonder. Nigel Dick, who worked with acts like Toto and Guns N' Roses in the 80s before becoming one of the defining directors of the 90s and early 2000s, doing extensive work with bands like Oasis, Nickelback, and even helping launch Britney Spears' career. The fourth and most famous of the bunch was David Fincher. Fincher spent his 80s working with huge stars like Rick Springfield, Paula Abdul, and Aerosmith, and would eventually launch into a career as an award-winning feature film director. One of Fincher's most fruitful creative partnerships was with the queen of MTV herself, Madonna. In 1989, Fincher directed the stylized, sensual Express Yourself and the noir dreamlike Oh Father. The two had immaculate creative synergy, with Madonna's pop vision matching Fincher's meticulous filmmaking ethos. Their most important collaboration might be 1990's Vogue.
Strike a pose. Strike a pose.
By the end of the 80s, Madonna had scored 16 consecutive top 5 singles, many of which were propelled by music videos. So when Oh Father topped out at number 20, it was a disappointment, and Madonna's label asked her to put together another video. She and Fincher rushed into production on Vogue, filming the visuals in just 16 hours over 2 days. This is a sharp contrast to Fincher's famously scrupulous direction style and to the lavish productions that were happening at the day. It's a lot more like the rushed videos that helped define the medium at the start of the decade. But the final product doesn't feel rushed at all. There's something raw and beautiful about Madonna's performance. It catapulted house music into the mainstream and brought voguing into the spotlight. These were staples of queer clubbing culture, and their massive public exposure helped to normalize that culture at the height of the AIDS crisis when homophobia was running rampant. The video would collect nominations at the 1990 VMAs, and Fincher would bring home Best Direction, beating out some of the greatest videos of the era, including Candice Reckinger's Opposites Attract, which saw Paula Abdul dancing with an animated cat, an experiment following in the lineage set forth by Cab Calloway's collaboration with Fleischer Studios way back in the 30s. 1990 also saw Fincher help George Michael make the most defiant statement of his career with Freedom 90. Throughout the 80s, George Michael had established himself as a sex symbol thanks to a series of music videos that included the famous Faith. But he was fed up with the attention and objectification he felt from leering music video cameras. In protest of this intense gaze, he worked with Fincher to put together Freedom 90, which saw a series of famous supermodels sing George Michael's words as the leather jacket from Faith burned and the jukebox exploded. Fincher's work with George Michael, Madonna, and others helped launch him into a career as one of the most celebrated filmmakers of his day, and he wasn't the only propaganda alumnus to leap to Hollywood. Michael Bay started working with propaganda right out of film school and would direct a number of great videos, including Divinal's I Touch Myself and Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That. Later in the 90s, Spike Jonze and Michel Gondry would work with propaganda before going on to their own careers in Hollywood. The greatest triumph of propaganda films might be Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation 1814. Not to be outdone by her brother's success with Moonwalker, Janet Jackson conceived of her own ambitious visual project in 1989. Rhythm Nation 1814 was envisioned not as an album with music videos, but rather as a single visual album. Jackson and her choreographers knew the vision and steps for the music videos before she went into the studio, so producers Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis took that aesthetic into account when producing the music for Rhythm Nation. To create the visuals, she tapped propaganda's Dominic Sena. In I Want My MTV, she explained, Dominic understood the story and he could put on screen from front to back the whole picture you had in your head. The foggy, smoky street, and the dark black and white tone, that was all intentional. Part of the idea behind the black and white aesthetic was to create unity between people of all different skin tones, underlining the project's message of racial justice. Rhythm Nation debuted on MTV and became one of the key influences on the visual direction of the next decade.
It's time to give a damn, let's work together. Come on now.
Pop wasn't the only music stretching its visual ambitions. By the time the 90s rolled around, rock and roll had been making videos for nearly 3 decades and had a reputation as the home of grandiose self-indulgence. To this effect, Guns N' Roses released their own cinematic experiment in 1992, November Rain. November Rain was an epic, dramatic piece based on the short story Without You by Del James. The video, directed by veteran music video director Andy Morahan, tells a tragic story of love, infidelity, and death, interspersed between footage of GNR playing in a concert hall. November Rain was another high-budget video, coming in at over $1.5 million. The most lasting image from that video is Slash's guitar solo. The band originally wanted Slash to solo in a field, but the whole video was shot during winter, so all the nearby fields were dead. Undeterred, they picked up their chapel set piece and brought it with them to the New Mexico desert. Slash's aesthetic with long hair, a leather jacket, and a dart hanging out of his mouth epitomized the rock and roll aesthetic of the era. But by the time November Rain came out in 1992, that aesthetic was already starting to change. On August 17, 1991, a group of teenage extras piled into a soundstage for the filming of a video by an upstart punk band called Nirvana. Nirvana were filming a video for the lead single of their upcoming album, Nevermind. They had called in Samuel Bayer to shoot the film. In classic albums Nevermind, Bayer theorizes that he may have been hired because his test reel was bad enough that the band thought it would be punk. In a world of overwrought budgets and corporate rock, Nirvana put together Smells Like Teen Spirit for a budget between $30,000 and $50,000, more comparable to the era of Top of the Pop videos than to their MTV contemporaries. Kurt Cobain had a clear vision for this video and even spent time in the editing booth, recutting the final product after Bayer was done with it. The video was inspired by Ramones Rock and Roll High School and the 1979 cult film Over the Edge, in which a group of rowdy suburban kids wreak havoc on their neighborhood and school. And the destruction seen in the video is authentic. The extras were forced to sit on cramped and uncomfortable bleachers for over 4 hours shooting the video. Toward the end of the shoot, Kurt Cobain himself convinced Bayer to let the kids mosh, and chaos ensued. The sheer catharsis of the extras tearing apart the set captured the angst and youthful rage that Nirvana hoped to embody. Smells Like Teen Spirit struck a chord in a generation of restless youth and kickstarted a new era of MTV. The channel realized the potential that this new market of kids had, and they weren't the only ones. Politicians saw a new voting bloc in the emerging Generation X and realized that MTV could be a way to galvanize youth voters. During the 1992 presidential election, Bill Clinton appeared on MTV in between music videos to try to speak directly to the youth. After he was elected, he would continue to appear on the channel, including hosting a town hall-style discussion in 1994. A new generation of teens and young adults were starting to assert their cultural identity, and MTV was a central part of that identity. And the musicians they loved were breaking from the tradition of 80s rock videos and creating their own vision for what the art form could be. The same year Nirvana released Smells Like Teen Spirit, REM released Losing My Religion, a video that features surreal vignettes underlining the emotions of the song.
That's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion.
The vision for that video came from director Tarsem Singh, who talked frontman Michael Stipe out of doing a straightforward performance video, instead convincing him to pull from a more abstract place of heightened emotions. Stipe told Rolling Stone, Tarsem had this idea, which was to film it in the style of a particular kind of Indian movie, in which everything is melodramatic and wry, dreamlike. It's worth noting here that India has a rich tradition of music on film that continues to this day, but honestly, there's so much there that it would need a whole series on its own if I was going to get into it. Losing My Religion earned enormous critical acclaim, racking up 9 nominations and winning 6 awards at the 1991 VMAs. Its esoteric style bled into many of the videos from the alternative rock era. You can even see it later in Nirvana videos like Heart-Shaped Box. A generation who grew up watching the experiments from the 80s were starting to understand that the power in the music video stretched far beyond simply seeing artists perform. The medium of the video allowed for depictions of the emotionality behind songs rather than the simple literalization of their lyrics. This era gave us all sorts of iconic video shots, like the B-Girl in Blind Melon's No Rain, another seminal alt-rock piece by Samuel Bayer, or Pearl Jam's Jeremy, which takes a true story and heightens the emotions with dramatic staging and lighting. But on the flip side, this alternative rock movement was also using the music video for whimsy and humor. Spike Jonze directed the Beastie Boys' Sabotage, which saw them sending up cheesy 70s films. Cake's The Distance uses bright colors and goofy costumes, and Primus had a whole host of strange, surreal videos. One of the oddest videos from this movement is Black Hole Sun, which combines over-the-top comedy with a dark edge of eldritch horror.
Black hole sun, won't you come wash away the rain? Black hole sun, won't you come, won't you come?
The darkness that Soundgarden depicts in their video was all over grunge and the adjacent movement of industrial music. Greens and browns started to dominate screens as artists celebrated grime, filth, and brokenness. Floria Sigismondi made a name for herself working with these aesthetics, creating strange and terrifying videos like Our Lady Peace's Birdman or Marilyn Manson's The Beautiful People. The grimiest, darkest video from this movement came in 1994, with 9 Inch Nails' Closer, directed by Mark Romanek and produced by Propaganda Films. Closer is a masterclass in the horror and discomfort of abjection. Romanek sets up scenes of disgust and viscera, combining them with a dark eroticism to mimic the self-hatred and strange sexuality of 9 Inch Nails' lyrics. The video was so shocking that its director's cut couldn't air on MTV, but a highly censored video did make it into circulation. The shoot for Closer was just as torturous as its visuals might make one believe. In a making-of documentary, Romanek explained, "I pretty much tortured Trent for 3 or 4 days on this video. I spun him so long that I believe he vomited. He was pretty much treated like a piñata on this video, but he never complained once. I think he knew we were making something interesting." Most of the sets smelled atrocious due to the actual pig head and enormous rotting sides of beef used in the filming. The entire crew was overwhelmed by the smell, Romanek said. "We ended up dripping Old Spice cologne onto filter masks and bandanas due to the horrific stench." To combine with these images of rot and decay, Romanek used out-of-date film stock. These kinds of grungy visual effects and color palettes might feel pretty par for the course today, but Closer is actually one of the seminal works in developing the kind of grunge aesthetic that still makes it into modern music videos and many video essays. It's this ethos of experimentation and creative vision that made Romanek one of the most celebrated directors of the era. He was behind the camera for such videos as Jay-Z's 99 Problems, the Red Hot Chili Peppers' Can't Stop, and Johnny Cash's Hurt. But his most ambitious project came in 1995, when he worked with Janet and Michael Jackson on Scream. Guinness World Records famously declared that the $7 million budget for Scream made it the most expensive music video of all time, but Romanek refutes that claim, noting that there were many other high-budget productions at the time. Either way, Scream did take a considerable amount of money, and it used that money to create a futuristic, gravity-defying video. The budget went into elaborate sets, cutting-edge computer animation, and a team of 4 choreographers for the 2 dancers in the video. With the influence that both Jacksons had on the medium of the music video, Scream naturally became a landmark collaboration. And it was also a clear example of an aesthetic style that was about to take over pop music. As the world pushed toward the new millennium, more people got online, and new technologies seemed to be promising a sci-fi future. This era saw the birth of Daft Punk, who used their music videos to build mythology around their robot personas, and a new generation of pop stars who defined the era embraced this futuristic vibe. NSYNC turned to Y2K futurism for I Want You Back and Bye Bye Bye. The biggest new star of this era was Britney Spears, whose extraordinary choreography and undeniable charm launched her into stardom with Baby One More Time in 1999. A year later, for the lead single of her sophomore album, she would celebrate the new millennium with her own futuristic video, Oops, I Did It Again.
Did it again.
Of course, not every perspective on this future was optimistic. In 1996, Jamiroquai's Virtual Insanity saw lead singer JK dancing in a futuristic insane asylum as he questions the world that is about to come. The original vision for that video was to have JK dancing on a floor that was moving beneath him, a clear visual metaphor for the uncertainty that he sings about in the song. But when they went in to make the video, they realized it was actually too expensive to make a moving floor. Instead, they created the illusion by moving the walls around K. They heightened this surreality by sporadically fastening certain pieces of furniture into the wall from behind with bolts, so they would move with the room while other furniture stayed still. The result is one of the most mind-bending videos ever made, and it's all tied together by a perfect performance by Kay. This performance was choreographed, but there were a number of hair-raising moments and close calls where Kay nearly hit a wall or almost got conked out by a piece of moving furniture. One of the masters of the Y2K vibe was Hype Williams, who stands to this day as maybe the most important video director in hip-hop history. His work on Missy Elliott's 1997 hit, The Rain, Supa Dupa Fly, showed a unique vision for the future by dressing Missy up in a giant blow-up leather suit.
I break up with him before he dump. To have me, yes, he lucky.
It's my window. I can't stand her.
In a 2023 tweet, Missy Elliott remembered filming this video, saying that she needed to go to the gas station for air to blow up the suit, and then couldn't fit into the car ride home. As a result, she had to walk through Brooklyn in a giant inflatable suit. Whatever odd humiliation Missy went through, it was worth it as the video became a seminal piece of Afrofuturism and cemented Hype Williams as one of the most important video makers for the new era to come. The Rain was a landmark moment for Williams, but it was far from his breakthrough. He and cinematographer John Perez had spent much of the 90s developing the visual language of hip-hop. While there were early rap videos in the 80s, they had a limited platform, so few of them broke through. It wasn't until 1988 that MTV introduced Yo MTV Raps, their hip-hop specific show. With a popular platform for their videos and the genre entering its second generation, rap music started to flourish at the end of the decade. Specifically, gangster rap spread through MTV, leaving controversy in its wake. NWA's videos for Straight Outta Compton and Fuck the Police displayed West Coast style and shifted hip-hop away from its playful party vibes towards something with more menace and edge. Not long after that, Hype Williams hit the scene. His early collaborations were with underground acts who didn't break the mainstream, but by 1994, he found himself working with artists like Wu-Tang Clan and the Notorious B.I.G.
To all the ladies in the place with style and grace, allow me to lace these lyrical douches in your bushes. Who rock grooves and make moves with all the mommies. The back of the club, sipping Moet is where you find me.
Williams and Perez loved using fisheye lenses to exaggerate the features of their subjects. They edited with rapid cuts that emulated the speed of rap music, and they created elaborate set pieces for their artists to perform on. Most of the biggest names in 90s rap collaborated with Williams at some point. His videography includes appearances from A Tribe Called Quest, Jay-Z, LL Cool J, Nas, and remarkably, both the Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. Williams' only collaboration with Tupac, California Love, was based on Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome and brings a post-apocalyptic aesthetic into the world of gangster rap.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing hoochie screaming, fiending for money and alcohol, the life of a West Side player with cows die in a strong ball. Only in Cali will we riot, not rally to live and die. In LA we wear chucks, not valleys.
Of course, Hype Williams wasn't the only director working in hip-hop. F. Gary Gray made a career for himself working with Ice Cube and Dr. Dre before later putting together Outkast's Miss Jackson and TLC's Waterfalls, the first hip-hop video ever to win Best Video at the VMAs.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. I know that you're gonna have it your way or nothing at all, but I think you're moving too fast.
Paul Hunter worked with Snoop Dogg, Warren G, and Mariah Carey before teaming up with the Notorious B.I.G. for one of the most elaborate rap videos of the era, 1997's Hypnotize. That video leans fully into gangster aesthetics, but amps them up to another level. Rather than the street-level gangster vibe that NWA pioneered, Biggie is portrayed as a high-level, Scarface-style gangster living a life of extreme excess while being pursued by federal authorities. Throughout the 90s, rap music was on the rise and brushing up against the mainstream, but it wouldn't fully break through and capture white America until a white rapper appeared on the scene. On January 21st, 1999, the video for Eminem's My Name Is debuted on MTV's Total Request Live.
Hi, my name is what? My name is my name is Slim Shady. Hi, my name is my name is what? My name is Slim Shady. Hi, my name is what? Excuse me. My name is Slim Shady. Can I have the attention of the class for 1 second? My name is.
Eminem had recently signed with Dr. Dre, who saw his potential in the mainstream and decided to put him in front of a camera. Dre and director Philip Atwell had a specific vision for the video, which would see Eminem spoofing many of the biggest figures of the moment, including Marilyn Manson and Bill Clinton. Despite the fact that he'd never shot a high-budget video before, Eminem's natural comedy and charisma came through in that video. It introduced the world to the strange, surreal violence of his Slim Shady character and spawned 1,000 shady imitators in suburban homes across America. A year later, Eminem would take on these imitators in The Real Slim Shady, another collaboration with Atwell. That video, another wacky comedy piece, would become the first outright rap video to win Best Video at the VMAs, cementing Eminem's status as one of the preeminent artists of the era. But Eminem would prove just as capable of darker videos as well. Stan is a literal depiction of its song's haunting lyrics, showing an obsessive fan's descent into madness and the eventual murder of his girlfriend. This video was heavily censored on MTV, with its more violent scenes missing entirely, and many of the lyrics censored as well.
Dear Stan, I meant to write you sooner, but I've just been busy. You said your girlfriend's pregnant now. How far along is she? Look, I'm really flattered you would call your daughter that. And here's an autograph for your brother. I wrote it on the starter cap.
By the time the new millennium hit, the music video was in a stronger place than it had ever been. There were so many visionary directors pushing the medium in so many directions that it's been impossible to hit on all of them throughout this video. So here are a few key ones that we haven't mentioned yet. Sophie Muller had a prolific career dating all the way back to the 80s. She directed a ton of videos with Eurythmics before going on to work with No Doubt, Blur, and Weezer. She pioneered the band in a dim room style that still makes its way into videos today, and she continues to work with some of the biggest acts on earth. Stephanie Sednaoui made some of the best alternative rock videos of the 90s, working with the Red Hot Chili Peppers, U2, Alanis Morissette, and the Smashing Pumpkins. Wayne Isham got a start in metal, including the video for Metallica's Enter Sandman, but by the late 90s, he had expanded his repertoire and created the look behind some of the most famous boy band videos, including the Backstreet Boys' I Want It That Way and NSYNC's Bye Bye Bye. Michel Gondry established himself as one of the most original directors of the era, creating inventive works with Daft Punk, Björk, and the Chemical Brothers before jumping into a collaboration with the White Stripes that would define a lot of early viral videos. And there's so many more. But instead of diving into all of those, I want to bring this video home with one of the strangest and most iconic videos of the new millennium, Fatboy Slim's Weapon of Choice. Weapon of Choice was directed by Spike Jonze, who got his start making skateboard videos and then became one of the most in-demand directors of 90s alt-rock. He worked with R.E.M., Sonic Youth, and Beastie Boys, and gained the admiration of Academy Award-winning actor Christopher Walken. In an interview with High Frequency, Fatboy Slim explained how the unlikely collaboration between himself, Jonze, and Walken came about. Walken said to Spike, "I would love to get my dancing on film while I'm still young enough to do it." So Spike went outside and phoned me and said, "Mr. Walken tap dancing in the video," and I was like, yes. I think it's full of irony to see an actor that I really admire, but who's famous for playing psychopaths. To see that silly, unpsychopathic dancing made me smile and made everyone else smile. For his part, Walken told The Hollywood Interview that it was actually quite easy to dance to Fatboy Slim's music. It's good for tap because it has a deliberate, almost a drum-like beat. Weapon of Choice was not just a surprising and strange video, it was a sign of things to come. As the digital era was dawning and audiences were gaining more access than ever to music videos, it became more important to stand out in a crowded scene. Once, standing out had meant enormous budgets, but people were about to prove that a clever idea, a memorable conceit, or a smooth piece of camera trickery could go just as far. And that's because the way people watched videos was about to undergo a transformation nearly as dramatic as the introduction of MTV in the first place. We'll get into that on the next episode of Hit Record. One of the videos that I didn't really have time to go into depth on in this episode is TLC's Waterfalls. But if you want to learn more about that video and about the song itself, you can check out my book Century of Song. If you're enjoying this series, you'll love Century of Song. It's a history of American music as told through 101 different songs. I picked one song for each year from 1923 to 2023 and wrote a little essay about it. The whole book is really just an extension of everything I do here on Polyphonic. So if you're looking for something to get the music fan in your life this holiday season, check it out in the link in the description or wherever books are sold. And thanks to all of those who have bought books already. This is a really cool thing for me. It's sort of a lifelong dream, so it's pretty surreal to see that copies are going off the shelves. All right, bye.